Hello, hello. Sorry for the technical issues, some problems with the internet. How are you all? How are you today? Can you type in the chat box, what are your plans for the weekend? What are you going to do this weekend? How is your, what about your summer? What about your summer? What do you do? What about your summer? Nobody's here for now. Just is that. Okay, let me. Yeah. Okay. Everybody, I see. So what are your plans for this weekend? I'm going camping this weekend, but I'm not sure about the weather this weekend. It's going to rain all around Ukraine, so I don't know about the camping that I have planned. Still, maybe everything will be fine. I don't know. What about you? What are you doing this summer? What have you been up to? Hello, hello, Masha. Hello. How are you? What are the plans? Hello, I'm going to swim in the pool the whole day. Okay, Vlad, cool. That's cool, really. By the way, this week is also the prize week, and we are also going to have a little bit of quiz at the end of the webinar. I'm going to ask the question about the topic that I will be speaking during the webinar. So be attentive. I was on this. Okay, Robert, I'm going to visit my grandma. Oh, yeah, that's totally cool. Sonia, hello, hello. Everybody, hello. So be very attentive during the webinar about the topic, because at the end of the webinar, I'm going to ask the question about the topic, about today's topic, and the first one to type the answer in the chat box will win the prize from me. Okay. So I saw that nobody sent your stress management guides to the Google Disk. I will blurt you out the secret that it seems to me the next week or the week after the next week will be also the presentation day. And this presentation will be rewarded. And for this presentation, you are going to receive also the present from me, and I will decide whose project was the best. So be creative. Okay, Denise, you are going to stay home. Why are you sad? That's fine. It's going to rain, so you're not going to lose anything. Oh, Masha is going to ride a horse. Stay with him. With who? With him? Stay with him? Okay, with the horse. Okay, good. Thanks a lot for your answers. Okay. So be attentive during the webinar because at the end we are going to have a prize. Okay. So we were a little bit talking about communication. So please, can you type in the chat box, what makes communication effective? What makes communicative process, let it be, bougie, a communicative process effective? And what makes working process more effective? What about these 2 points? What makes working process more effective and what makes communicative process effective? Do they have similar things or not? Is there something in common between these 2 points? Can you please share your ideas in the chat? Or don't go out of the conversation, out of the webinar. There's the question answered and you will get back at the end of the webinar to win the prize, yeah? Don't go away. Okay. So what makes working process more effective and what makes communicative process effective? Can you please share in the chat, Denise? Right. Can you share your ideas about this one? Switching off all gadgets, Vlad writes. Okay, yes, right. Right now it's very relevant because everybody is with their smartphones and whenever they don't know what to speak about, they switch on their gadgets and start frantically scroll through Instagram or Facebook or something whatsoever. Right, that's a good point. Okay, what else? Nobody? Nobody's going? Only Vlad, yeah? Now. Right. I like the idea. Share with your opinions to your team. Share your opinions with your teammates. Right. Sharing opinion. Well done. If you both have an interesting topic to discuss, and also it helps to be a good listener. Yes, being a good listener really helps you. Right. I liked your ideas, and some of them are very relevant to the topic that we are going to discuss today, especially sharing your opinions with your teammates. It's a good one. So today we are going to have a look. Oh, right, Timofey, that's fine. So what about feedback then? If we share our opinion, so we give some feedback. So what do you think feedback means to you? What feedback means to you? Means to you, yeah, right. Can you please type in the chat box what feedback means to you? What does it mean to you, and is it important? Can you please type in the chat box, is it important or not? Isn't important or not when communicating with other people? Answer from a person, right? Like back channel reaction, yeah, response. Answer, feedback. Correct. It means a lot. Okay. What exactly? And from reply from a person. Okay. 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 It's a little bit broad. Yeah. You think that it's a little bit broad, meaning the reaction to your words. Oh, right. Sophia, I agree more with this one, that it's a reaction, somebody's react, maybe when you get reaction to your word. Yeah, so the reaction of another person, either to your words or your actions. Yeah, so today we are going to have a look. Let me just share with you. Today we are going to have a look at the feedback, and let's pencil in the agenda. So we are going to look at what feedback means. After that, we are going to have a look at the benefits of feedback. What are the advantages of feedback? Then we are going to concentrate a little bit on the types of feedback, especially at negative criticism, at constructive feedback, and positive feedback. After that, we are going to look at the high quality feedback. So the tips of how to make your feedback more effective, and transform. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And giving feedback to yourself. After that, we are going to have a look. Okay. So now we brainstormed with you what the feedback is. Let's have a look at what exactly it is. Right. Just a second. Right. So the thing that I want you to bear in mind is feedback is not advice, and it's not a praise, and it's not an evaluation. It's information about how one is doing in effort to reach a goal. There are two types of feedback giving and feedback receiving, and both are not the easiest. Understanding of how to give feedback and to receive feedback is important in a leadership role. Feedback can be, as you can see on the slide, feedback can be written, comments can be electronic comments, can be meeting with individuals like oral, and suggestions from your peers. Showings, it means like meetings face to face. Yeah. Okay. After that, let's look at the process. First of all, somebody gives you feedback. After that, here you process the feedback. So you either listen to the feedback, or you read the feedback, or watch the feedback. And after that, you perform. So you act, you find the solution of how to make, how to act according to this feedback. Kind of back channeling. So let's look at the at the feedback itself. So the feedback is the return of information that is provided following an activity or process. In fact, feedback is ubiquitous. So let's have a look at the types of feedback. We can have different kinds of them. So it can be either physical, it can be either communicative. That we are going to concentrate more today on the communicative one. So it's ubiquitous, and we are receiving feedback at every moment we are awake. If you reach to pick up a cup, how do you know that your hand is close enough to close it on the cup, to grab the cup? Now reach out to pick the cup while keeping your eyes closed. What happens? In order to pick up the cup, you used your senses to provide information about the progress of the task and to modify what you were doing in order to complete the task successfully. In order to do anything at all, we need feedback. Even something as natural to us as walking requires lots of feedback from the balance mechanisms in our inner ear, as well as our senses. The more complex the task, and the less we have done it before, the greater the need for ongoing and comprehensive feedback and progress information. So as you can see now, we are talking about physical feedback that we are receiving all the time. So without feedback, if feedback is constant, it's ongoing process that we can't stop, that we can't control, it's just natural and built in. It becomes obvious that it becomes obvious on thinking about it that the quality of the available feedback has a large bearing on our ability to complete a task. When picking up the cup, for example, visual feedback is far superior to touch feedback. We know how to utilize feedback. We are all adept at supplying ourselves with feedback from our environment in order to do things. We would simply not survive if this was not so. So, feedback is natural and we can't live without feedback. For any activity that we do, we need feedback from other people. And it becomes from ourselves even. And it needs to realize that feedback is important. And when you don't listen to somebody's feedback, of course, you have to filtrate and you can't perform on everybody's feedback, but you have to switch on your critical thinking, but without understanding that without feedback, having a different perspective from other people, it's impossible to perform the task successfully. Right. So one source of feedback that we all use when available is other people. We notice how other people react to what we are doing. Their reaction might be positive, negative, planned, or spontaneous. Whatever their response or lack of it, we will draw conclusions about what the response means. We are then likely to modify our behavior based on those conclusions, especially if we consider the other person credible. Feedback drives up to change. Right, so you have always to switch on your critical thinking and understand whether it's a credible or verifiable source of information or of feedback, or you simply just have to pass it by. So that's why only professional people and experienced people have to give feedback. Only experience, I want to emphasize the word experienced because it's the only person who can simply give you a solution, give you some additional ideas, give you some hints how to improve, how to change, how to modify, how to save time or money or anything. That's the only way. Now you may already have spotted the gotcha in this. We modify our behavior based on the conclusions we draw about someone else's behavior. How do we know our conclusions are correct? How do we know for sure that their behavior was in response to ours? Maybe that smile was a sign of approval for our actions, or maybe our actions just reminded them of something funny. Or maybe they were daydreaming about a joke from the pub last night and didn't even notice that we were doing something. So you have to filtrate also what the feedback was. Maybe it wasn't your actions, or maybe it was a sarcastic feedback. So kind of you always have to filtrate and understand the feedback correctly. We are going to have a look today at 8. So what about the unintentional feedback? Most feedback we get from other people is unintentional. That is, they don't have planned outcome in their mind. They just react and we then react. It's an informal process, but nonetheless, very powerful. As a manager, for example, managers have to be conscious of this power. And they have to be aware of what their body language and behavior might be saying to people, because they will use it as a feedback. To improve the informal feedback to others, the managers usually should be consistent in the approach and behavior. And when you also give feedback, so you need to be consistent in the behavior and approach. One of the best tools for developing good habits within yourself is through increasing your emotional intelligence. That's why your unintentional feedback will be read correctly, will be decoded correctly, and everything will be fine. Intentional. A small proportion of the feedback we receive from other people is given by them on purpose. And this kind of personal feedback can be incredibly useful. Today, we will focus on feedback given by someone on purpose, so planned. It has much more. Kind of. It has much more to learn, to study, because it's planned, and there is a strict. Not as strict, but still there is a fixed system of this. In an ideal world, the other person gives us valid and useful information about what we are doing with our best interests in mind. In a less than ideal world, we sometimes get criticism. So these negative feedback which we receive is criticism. Criticism is what's that? What do you think? What's the criticism? For me, it's when the person gives you feedback based on not your actions, but on your personality, for example. Not something that is not about the work you are doing. Something about your personality, something that can't be changed and isn't connected at all with your job, directly connected with your job. Sometimes it's connected with your job, but still. Okay, so this is criticism. Criticism is very harsh, is very judgmental, is very biased, as I said, and it's usually not very objective. So this is a criticism. So as we have got to the criticism, let's have a look at the types of feedback that we can have. Criticism can do damage to us and to our confidence and self-esteem. But what is criticism and how is it different to the feedback? The simplest way to tell the difference is to consider who the comments will benefit. Are they for the benefit of the giver or the receiver? Feedback is for the benefit of the receiver, not the giver, because giver wants to help. Its purpose is to help them grow and develop, reinforce positive behavior or actions. It's designed to help and support, and focuses on how to learn from the situation in order to move forward. Feedback feedback usually is used only to help to help the receiver. And feedback has a lot of benefits. We are going to have a look at the benefits because it's one of the most important issue to know why you are giving the feedback and why you are receiving it. On the other hand, criticism always benefits the giver. In most cases, it's done to make the giver feel in some way superior to the receiver. It's often negative and judgmental. It's in many cases subjective rather than objective, and it's usually destructive. It's most likely to make the recipient feel defensive, angry, or hurt, emotions which stifle learning and growth. Criticism is also often used to apportion blame and to offload negative feelings. Right, so avoid it in any cases. Let's have a look at the types of feedback. Purposeful feedback can be divided into two types, positive and constructive. Positive feedback is also known as praise. This type of feedback is mainly used as a motivator. It recognizes the good work that someone has done and rewards them for it. Positive feedback can sometimes be known as either motivational feedback or reinforcement feedback, since it's designed to encourage a person to continue with a specific kind of behavior or approach. Constructive feedback is letting someone know that they didn't do something in an appropriate way, or they did something incorrectly. The message is constructive and helps the individual to improve rather than just being a message about what they shouldn't do. So the message is not to show the mistake. The message is to show how you can do it better. Constructive feedback includes information to enable the individual to improve their behavior or the way in which they do something. Right. Constructive feedback helps the person develop better and more useful behaviors. Hence, it's also known as formative feedback, developmental feedback, or redirection. So let's have a look together at the criticism and the constructive feedback, the examples of them. You were speaking so quietly and unclearly that people ask you to repeat all the time. Were you unprepared or what? It's like just criticism. You show the mistake, but you didn't show how to correct it, how to manage it, how to handle it. So constructive will be like this. Your project presentation went successfully, positive one. Here is what's especially great. Materials were visualized and very well organized. They were professional with all the references. The information was interesting and up to date. People were interested in your office. Next time, try to speak more clearly and loudly. Anyway, today you did a good job. Just positive. Next, something that you should have done better. And another one, even not should have done better, but you should do better in the future. Anyway, today you did a good job. Another praise, another positive comment. So this is the example, a vivid example of a constructive, very organized and professionally done feedback. To sum up this stage, I would like to add the quote, to quote the Confucius, a Chinese philosopher: "Not to alter one's fault is to be faulty indeed. Not to alter one's faults is to be faulty indeed." Right. Okay, yeah, this one. Right. Okay, so what are the benefits of the feedback that we can have. And what is the importance of the feedback? Feedback is a vital part of any managers or coaches or teachers skill set. Project managers, team leaders, teachers, coaches develop the skill over the course of their careers. Not just giving feedback, but also receiving is essential for efficiently sharing information within teams and groups. Let's have a look at the how to give it better and how to provide it better. Constructive feedback is a robust tool for creating healthy environment, boosting productivity and engagement, and achieving better results. It positively influences communication, team members' interaction, and teamwork results in different fields. So speaking about the workplace, the importance of feedback in the workplace is hard to overestimate. Sharing information on what can and needs to be improved helps to optimize work processes and get things done in less time. So optimization is the key to successful business managing and business running. So feedback is a great way to help. Feedback is of great help in leadership and communication. So it creates a clear picture and increases transparency. For me, it's the most important thing, because with the help of feedback, you show the person or you show the group that you are transparent, that you are not ambiguous and obscure, that you are not dual. Yeah, you don't say like here is everything is cool, everything is good, but after that behind his or her back you say that this was bad and this was also bad. It was like not appropriately done. So feedback in this case, it serves the purpose of being a tool for transparency. In leadership and in educational learning, feedback plays a crucial role. It helps to adopt new knowledge sooner, and it helps to avoid repetitive mistakes all the way around. Like to get out of the vicious circle of mistakes and to move forward, feedback is extremely important in education. The same applies to feedback in sports and coaching. It helps to learn new skills and get better results. So in sports, coaching is also very important because, as you know, sports is a repetitive process, and training is a repetitive process. That's why feedback is immensely important. Right. So what's great about feedback? Let's have a look at the benefits. Feedback keeps everyone on track. Everybody is involved in any type of activities. Either it's working on a project, preparing for an event, studying, etc. So feedback keeps everybody on track to meet the deadline or to reach the mutual goal. Feedback also helps to avoid major mistakes, as I told before. Clear, honest communication flow during team members saves the time of correcting someone's work, reduces errors, lapses caused by miscommunication, and prevents regrets of those who feel like they failed. Feedback here really helps. Forming better relationships in the team. Feedback promotes honesty and trust within the team members. It often involves criticism, which is something most people aren't comfortable with. But when given in the right way, it can help them to evolve. Also, feedback is a great tool for motivation. So the friendly approach here works really well. And you can not only help others see what they might be doing wrong, but allow them to use this the piece of advice, not judgment. Make them feel like you believe in them, just want to help them to reach the same goal. It makes them more motivated to do a good job. It also promotes professional and personal development or growth. Its feedback is about listening actively, processing, taking time to analyze, and after that, thinking of the best possible solution to perform better. So the performance at the end. So these three stages. First of all, you listen actively. After that, you process and find the best solution to do this task. If you can't find but still you have some idea, the experienced coach or the trainer or the manager can help you with the help of his or her feedback to perform this task better. It provides positive criticism and allows to see what everyone can change to improve their focus and results. It brings people together and creates a healthy communication flow. Right? Creating a friendly work environment. Openness to criticism and urge to seek feedback are the other positive effects that save you big time. It's not uncommon that the best ideas come from someone on the team who simply mentions a solution to a problem or points out an issue that others haven't noticed yet. Also, feedback has a business related and direct benefits. For example, just let me refresh the page. It seems to me I can't see your comments. Right. So for business results, for business related results, it's growth of your business, saving money, saving time, completing projects on time and meeting the deadlines, and other positive changes that can bring to the organization or the group. Right. What I wanted to add. Okay. Right. So let's have a look at what can make your feedback more effective. So the first one, be concrete and specific. Make sure you are specific and use evidence. Your employees should know exactly what aspect of the project you are talking about, what they did wrong, and how it can be improved. For this reason, it's important to utilize hard evidence, such as time tracking, such as the finance mistakes or finance lapses, some of the financial failures or anything. And you need to have this hard evidence to display the employees or to display the team members, anybody, just to display that you have that they have done something wrong, incorrect. With this help, you're able to provide a high quality feedback, because you won't have any problems like oh well, I didn't do that, or I have done it. Yeah, I have done it. Why do you say that I haven't done it? So to eliminate all these results, you have to have a hard evidence. Be concrete, be specific. Yeah, don't talk about fleas or talk about dogs. Okay. Be informative and practical. Being informative and practical is the key to success of the feedback, of your feedback. Because when you speak about something not applicable to the project or not applicable to this task, what's the point of the feedback at all? So you have to provide practical ideas and you have to be informative. That's why only experienced, I draw your attention, only experienced professionals and experienced trainers or coaches or anybody, team members, can do that. They have enough experience to provide you with the pieces of advice that you need, or the hints how to optimize the work or to optimize the process. Another thing that really helps in the feedback process, it's letting people to be the part of the problem solving process. Even if you already have a specific solution to the problem in mind, you always have to hear them out. You have to let them ask questions, or let them share ideas, brainstorm some ideas, how the person um, can change something, or can share the ideas of how to optimize this process or how to deal with the problem. And after that, you need to share your proposal using some of the words and ideas suggested by people you are giving feedback to. So this rule is, for me, it's like the best one, because it helps people to understand that they are the part of the feedback, that they have some power to decide, and they are able to decide something. Also, it provides some kind of independence, or somewhat, to help people like that. Okay, good. It's uncommon that people aren't actually sure what happened or what their next step should be. That's why you should ask questions in the end and see if the other person received your message. Follow up. Follow-up questions or follow-on discussion after a few days, maybe, or after some time, is the best way for you to understand whether there is still an issue, or it has been solved already. That's the case. Make it a feedback, not an opinion. So the rule for you, or the tip for you, is here: be non-judgmental and unbiased. It's not an opinion. You don't you don't give your opinion here. You just share your experience, and you give advice of how to make the process more systemized. That's why I always stick to the point that the you have to follow some rules of maintaining the dialogue, like not I, but we, not you, but you, everybody. Yeah, just not just one person, he or she. Just make it the feedback. Make feedback is giving advice. It's not praise or it's not criticism, just advice. Avoid blames, avoid judgments. You want to motivate people and show them area for improvement, not the opposite. Always explain your members of the team or the receivers how open communication about possible improvements is a win-win situation. Mention their strengths first, after which you can point an aspect they can work on more, they can focus on more. Talk about actions but not personality. So this one is clear. Being objective is the best way. Subjectiveness is not welcomed here. You don't speak about the person's personality. Simply, it's not about the job. It's not about the work that you are having. It's about the work, but not the personality. Yeah, don't judge them, their personality. Talk in the past. Always use past simple. First of all, it helps you to provide. First of all, it helps to draw people's attention to their mistakes, that they've done something bad, that they've done something incorrect in the past. If you use present simple, it creates the feeling that you are talking about people, that they usually do that they always do that, which is not true. Yeah, that something happened in the past. Why do you do it in the why do you speak about the present? Why do you generalize? Yeah, so always use the past simple to speak about their evidence, their hard evidence of the mistakes. Talk immediately. I have a very nice make haste while the sun shines. Куй железо, пока горячо. I think that you have heard about this proverb, make haste while the sun shines. Whenever the mistake has been made, you have to give feedback. That's just the rule that has to be followed, because otherwise it will be forgotten and anybody will remember about. Effective feedback is given in a time of learning, when there is still time to act on it. So you have always to remember this rule. So the person can perform on it and can correct the mistakes. There should be the proper time for that. When speaking about time, I also tend to believe that there should be also the time to understand. Make sure that everybody receives your response. Everybody should be comfortable with sharing how they feel about it. You should be open-minded and take into account everybody's points of view. So there should be also time to process the feedback that was given. That's why I always tend to believe. I tend to believe also that you have to encourage members or like feedback receivers, let it be, to give their feedback about your work. Leave your ego behind. Always ask for for their feedback about your performance and about your role as a manager, as the feedback giver. You have always to carefully listen about them, and it will encourage people that their points of view are always taken into account. You can let them give examples about your job, and after that you can openly discuss together to find the way out, to make it easier, to make the feedback more effective. So that's the rule of feedback giving and feedback receiving, right? Make it positive. Be positive. Always create the friendly atmosphere. Don't condemn. Don't make it negative. It should be a positive reinforcement. Kind of. It shouldn't be attacking the person, condemning the behavior. So sometimes it shouldn't be even the constructive. Sometimes it should be just a positive feedback, just a praise. Yeah. So like that. Let's not use, for example, you by making everything I, for example, can be positive settings, open-mindedness, not ignoring another people who are listening to the feedback. It should be like encouraging way to creating the feedback friendly environment. And the last one, maybe not the last one, not the last point, about sandwich feedback. So can you please type in the chat box, what's the sandwich feedback? And what it means. I will tell you about it in a moment. Sometimes it's hard for people to accept constructive feedback even. And the atmosphere lingering in the office everywhere becomes really tough and hard to handle. That's why there is the feedback sandwich. Compliment sandwich, it's also known. It's a technique for giving interpersonal feedback. This method suggests that when providing someone with an evaluation, you should start by making positive statements, first bread, then discuss areas for improvement. It's the middle of the bread, body of the sandwich. And you should start by making positive statements, and you should finish with more positive statements or compliments about one's work. Start off with positive feedback, authentic praise of something your colleague did recently. Find good and honest words to compliment a person's work. To make criticism criticism work for you, you should always explain what is exactly that you are concerned about and why you think the suggested solution is not the best one. Maybe like it's not clear, or it seems like it would be a good idea that you speak more louder or something. You should always criticize work. So we have done it. Yeah, if you know how to improve something, so suggest your opinion. And on a positive note, even if you are not happy with the result of someone's work, after you expressed your criticism, find some good words to compliment your colleague's effort and work. It can be a general or a specific comment, but it's important to end any meeting on a good note. When you use this technique, it's important to it's important not to praise someone's work more than you criticize him or her. And you shouldn't give empty praises. So it's it should be balanced like a sandwich. This framework is used to provide healthy and constructive feedback to maintain an open and friendly team atmosphere. Good. So what I wanted to end with them, can you please write in the chat box, type in, didn't hear about that. Cool. So when you, can you please type in the chat box, what is the best way to give feedback to yourself? And what about you? Are you self-critical? Are you self-critical or not? Please share your experience with me. For example, my system is that I usually watch my lessons, recorded lessons, and write all the points that I think are important. After that, I put pluses and minuses. Pluses, something that was done well. Minuses, something that should be done better. My view on this one is that there should be balanced number of pluses and minuses. Otherwise, if you are too self-critical, you won't see the progress. You won't see the areas and the fields that you have to work more on. That's why there should be a balanced number of pluses and minuses. Okay, so being self-critical is no use. Usually when I had some courses with teachers, the first thing I have noticed was that all Ukrainian people start with the negative feedback. This was bad, this was bad, this was had to be done better, and stuff like that. That's not like that. It doesn't work. You don't motivate people in such a way. Otherwise, you feel that you are not good enough. You feel that you do everything badly, and there is no way you will move forward. It depends on my mood, but I think I'm not. If that's very good. To yourself, it's to make plus minuses. Yes. Plus minus. It's the best one. Being self-critical is just the feature and the main peculiarity of Ukrainians, which is not good. We should transform it. We should just change it and switch to the balanced view, because when you see that it was good and it was good, but the task has to be smaller, or the teacher talked a lot during the lesson, or something. That's why we have first of all internal feedback that I give myself, and external. It can be from students and from experienced teachers. So for me, it's the best way. Okay, now is the time for prizes. Can you please type in the chat box the name of the technique of feedback technique, which is designed according to the type of food. The feedback technique, which is designed according to the type of food. I'm waiting. The first person to answer will be the winner. it was helpful. Okay, but Masha, the prize. The feedback technique, which is based on the type of food. Nobody? Right. Right, Masha, you today are the most active one. Thanks a lot. Maria will win the prize. Thanks a lot, everybody. It was very nice to work with you. Have a nice week.